The more I listened to Yogi Raman and the more I reflected on the pain and suffering of my former world, the more I welcomed the philosophy of Kaizen, constant and never ending enrichment of the mind, body, and soul. Into my new life, Julian asserted. Why am I hearing so much about the mind, body, and soul these days? It seems I can't even turn on the tube without someone making mention of it. This is the trilogy of your human endowments to improve your mind without the cultivation of your physical gifts would be a very hollow victory, elevating your mind and body to their highest level. Without nurturing your soul would leave you feeling very empty and unfulfilled. But when you dedicate your energies to unlocking the full potential of all three of your human endowments, you will taste the divine ecstasy of an enlightened life. You have got me pretty excited, Pearl. As to your question about where to start, I promise that I will give you a number of ancient yet powerful techniques in a few moments, but first I must share a practical illustration with you. Get into push-up position. Good grief. Julian's become a drill sergeant. I silently thought, being curious and wishing to keep my cup empty. I complied. Now do as many push-ups as you can possibly do. Don't stop until you truly are certain that you cannot do any more. I struggled with the exercise, my 215-pound frame not being used to much more than walking to the nearest McDonald's with my kids or meandering through a round of golf with my law partners. The first 15 push-ups were pure agony. With the heat of that summer evening adding to my discomfort, I started to sweat profusely. However, I was determined not to show any signs of weakness and carried on until my vanity started to give way along with my arms. At 23 push-ups, I gave up. No more, Julian, this is killing me. What are you trying to do here? Are you certain that you can't do any more? I am sure. Come on, give me a break. The only lesson I am going to learn from this is what to do for a heart attack. Do 10 more than you can rest, commanded Julian. You have got to be kidding, but I continued. 1, 2, 5, 8, and finally 10. I lay on the floor in total exhaustion. I went through precisely the same experience with Yogi Raman the night he shared his special fable with me, said Julian. He told me that pain was a great teacher. What could anyone possibly learn from an experience like this? I asked breathlessly. Yogi Raman and all of the sages of Sivana for that matter believed that people grow the most when they enter the zone of the unknown. Okay, but what does that have to do with making me do all those push-ups? You told me after you had done 23 that you couldn't do anymore. You told me that this was your absolute limit. Yet when I challenged you to do more, you responded with another 10 push-ups. You had more inside you, and when you reached for your resources, you received more. Yogi Raman explained a fundamental truth to me whilst I was his student. The only limits on your life are those that you set yourself. When you dare to get out of your circle of comfort and explore the unknown, you start to liberate your true human potential. This is the first step towards self-mastery and mastery over every other circumstance in your life. When you push beyond your limits, Just as you did in this little demonstration, you unlock mental and physical reserves that you never thought you had. Fascinating, I thought. Come to think of it, I had recently read in a book that the average person uses only a minute measure of his human capacity. I wondered what we could do if we started using the remaining reservoir of our abilities. Julian sensed he was on a roll. You practice the art of Kaizen by pushing yourself daily, work hard to improve your mind and body, nourish your spirit. Do the things you fear, start to live with unbridled energy and limitless enthusiasm. Watch the sunrise, dance in a rain shower, be the person you dream of being, do the things you have always wanted to do but didn't because you tricked yourself into believing that you were too young, too old, too rich, or too poor, prepared to live a so airy, fully alive life. In the East, they say that luck favors the prepared mind. I believe that life favors the prepared mind. Julian continued his passionate discourse. Identify the things that are holding you back. Are you scared of speaking, or do you have trouble in your relationships? Do you lack a positive attitude, or do you need more energy? Make a written inventory of your weaknesses. Satisfied people are far more thoughtful than others. Take the time to reflect on what it is that might be keeping you from the life you really want and know deep down you can have. Once you have identified what your weaknesses are, the next step is to face them head on and attack your fears. If you fear public speaking, sign up to give 20 speeches. If you fear starting a new business or getting out of a dissatisfying relationship, muster every ounce of your inner resolve and do it. This might be the first taste of real freedom that you have experienced in years. Fear is nothing more than a mental monster you have created, a negative stream of consciousness. Fear is nothing more than a negative stream of consciousness. I like that. You mean all my fears are nothing more than imaginary little gremlins that have crept into my mind over the years. Exactly, John. Every time they have prevented you from taking some action, you have added fuel to their fire. But when you conquer your fears, you conquer your life. I need an example. Sure. Let's take public speaking, an activity most people fear more than death itself. When I was a litigator, I actually saw lawyers who were scared of stepping into court. They would do anything, including settling their clients' otherwise worthy cases just to avoid the pain of getting up on their feet inside a packed courtroom. I have seen them too. Do you actually think that they were born with this fear? I sure hope not. Study a baby. She has no limits. Her mind is a lush landscape of potential and possibility. Properly cultivated, it will lead her to greatness. Filled with negativity, it will lead her to mediocrity. At best, that I am saying is this: no experience, whether it is public speaking or asking your boss for a raise or swimming in a sun-soaked lake or walking along the beach on a moonlight night, is inherently painful or pleasant. It is your thinking that makes it so. Interesting, a baby could be trained to view a glorious sunny day as depressing. A child could be trained to see a puppy as a vicious animal. An adult could be trained to see a drug as a pleasant vehicle for release. It's all a matter of conditioning, isn't it? Sure, the same holds true of fear. Fear is a conditioned response, a life-sucking habit that can easily consume your energy, creativity, and spirit if you are not careful. When fear rears its ugly head, beat it down quickly. The best way to do that is to do the thing you fear. Understand the anatomy of fear. It is your own creation. Like any other creation, it is just as easy to tear it down as it is to erect it. Methodically search for and then destroy every fear that has secretly slid into the fortress of your mind. This alone will give you enormous confidence, happiness, and peace of mind. Can a person's mind actually be fully fearless? I ask. Great question. The answer is an unequivocal and emphatic yes. Each and every one of the sages of Savannah was absolutely fearless. You could see it in the way they walked, you could see it in the way they talked. You could see it when you looked deep into their eyes, and I will tell you something else, John. What I asked, fascinated by what I was hearing. I too am fearless. I know myself, and I have come to see that my natural state is one of indomitable strength and unlimited potential. It was just that I was blocked by all those years of self-neglect and unbalanced thinking. I will tell you another thing. When you erase fear from your mind, you start to look younger and your health becomes more vibrant. Ah, the old mind-body connection, I replied, hoping to mask my ignorance. Yes, the sages of the East have known about it for over 5,000 years. Hardly New Age, he said with a broad grin lighting up his radiant face. The sages shared another powerful principle with me which I think about often. I think it will be invaluable to you as you walk the path of self-leadership and personal mastery. It has given me the motivation at times when I feel like taking things easy. The philosophy can be stated succinctly: what sets highly actualized people apart from those who never live inspired lives is that they do things that less developed people don't like doing, even though they might not like doing them either. Truly enlightened people, those who experience deep happiness daily, are prepared to put off short-term pleasure for the sake of long-term fulfillment. So they tackle their weaknesses and fears head-on, even if dipping into the zone of the unknown brings with it a measure of discomfort. They resolve to live by the wisdom of Kaizen, improving every aspect of themselves. Ceaselessly and continuously with time, things that were once difficult become easy. Fears that once prevented them from all the happiness, health, and prosperity they deserved fall to the wayside like stick men toppled by a hurricane. So you are suggesting that I must change myself before I change my life. Yes, it's like that old story my favorite professor told me when I was in law school. One night a father was relaxing with his newspaper after a long day at the office. His son, who wanted to play, kept on pestering him. Finally fed up, the father ripped out a picture of the globe that was in the paper and tore it into 100 tiny pieces. Here, son, go ahead and try to put this back together, he said, hoping that this would keep the little boy busy long enough for him to finish reading this paper. To his amazement, his son returned only 1 minute with the globe perfectly back together. When the startled father asked how he achieved this feat, the son smiled gently and replied, Dad, on the other side of the globe there was a picture of a person, and once I got the person together, the world was okay. That's a great story. You see, John, the wisest people I have ever met from the sages of Savannah to my professors at Harvard Law School all seem to know the key formula for vision, for happiness. Do continue, I said with a hint of impatience. It's precisely what I said earlier. Happiness comes through the progressive realization of a worthy objective. When you are doing what you truly love to do, you are bound to find deep contentment. If happiness comes to everyone who simply does what they love doing, why are so many people miserable? Fair point, John. Doing what you love, whether this means giving up the work you are presently doing to become an actor or spending less time on those things that are less important to make time for those things that are more meaningful, requires a great deal of courage. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, and change is always a little uncomfortable at first. It is also more than a little risky. Having said this, this is the surest way to design a more joyful life. Exactly. How does one go about building courage? It's the same as the story. Once you get yourself together, your world will be okay. Once you master your mind, body, and character, happiness and abundance will flow into your life almost magically. But you must spend some time daily working on yourself, even if for only 10 or 15 minutes. And what does the 9-foot tall, 900-pound Japanese sumo wrestler symbolize in Yogi Raman's fable? Our hefty friend will be your constant reminder of the power of Kaizen, the Japanese word for constant self-expansion and progress. In just a few hours, Julian had revealed the most powerful and the most astonishing information that I had ever heard in my lifetime. I had learned of the magic in my own mind and its treasure trove of potential. I had learned highly practical techniques to still the mind and focus its power on my desires. And dreams. I had learned the importance of having a definite purpose in life and of setting clear goals in every aspect of my personal, professional, and spiritual world. Now I had been exposed to the ageless principle of self-mastery, Kaizen. How can I practice the art of Kaizen? I will give you 10 ancient yet supremely effective rituals that will lead you far along the path of personal mastery. If you apply them on a daily basis with faith in their utility, you will observe remarkable results in just 1 month from today. If you continue to apply them, incorporating the techniques into your routine such that they become habits, you are bound to reach a state of perfect health, limitless energy, lasting happiness, and peace of mind. Ultimately, you will reach your divine destiny, for this is your bright birthright. Yogi Raman offered the 10 rituals to me with great faith in what he'll term their exhaustiveness, and I think you will agree that I am living proof of their power. I simply ask that you listen to what I have to say and judge the results for yourself. Life-changing results in only 30 days, I ask in this belief. Yes, the quid pro quo is that you must set aside at least 1 hour a day for 30 consecutive days to practice the strategies I am about to offer to you. This investment in yourself is all it takes. And please don't tell me that you don't have the time, but I don't. I said honestly, my practice is really booming. I don't have 10 minutes to myself, let alone a full hour. Julian. As I told you, saying that you do not have the time to improve yourself, whether this means improving your mind or nourishing your spirit is much like saying you do not have time to stop for gas because you are too busy driving. Eventually, it will catch up with you. Really, really, how so? Let me put it this way: you are very much like a high performance race car worth millions of dollars, a well oiled, highly sophisticated machine. Why, thank you, Julian. Your mind is the greatest wonder of the universe, and your body has the capacity to perform feats that might astonish you. Agreed. Knowing the value of this high performance multi-million-dollar machine, would it be wise to run it full out every minute of every day without taking a pit stop to let the motor cool down? Of course not. Well then, why are you not taking some time every day for your personal pit stop or rest break? Why are you not taking the time to cool down the high performance engine of your mind? Do you see my point? Taking the time to renew yourself is the most important thing you can do. Ironically, taking time out from your daily with utter conviction in their value. This is not a quick fix type deal. Once you are in it for the long term. What do you mean? Spending 1 hour a day tending to yourself will surely give you dramatic results in 30 days, provided you do the little things. It takes about 1 month to fully install a new habit. After this period, the strategies and techniques you will learn will fit like a second skin. The key is that you must keep on practicing them every day if you want to keep on seeing the results. Fair enough, I agreed. Julian clearly had unlocked a wellspring of personal vitality and inner serenity in his own life. Actually, his transformation from a sickly old litigator to a radiant, energetic philosopher was nothing less than miraculous. At that moment, I resolved to dedicate 1 hour a day to implementing the techniques and principles I was about to hear. I decided to work on improving myself before working to change others, as had been my habit. Maybe I too could undergo a Mendel-like transformation. I was surely worth a try. That night, sitting on the floor of my cluttered living room, I learned what Julian called the 10 rituals of radiant living. Some of them required a little concentrated effort on my part, others could be performed effortlessly. All were intriguing and rich with the promise of extraordinary things to come. The first strategy was known to the sages as the ritual of solitude. This involves nothing more than ensuring that your daily schedule includes a mandatory period of peace. Just what is a period of peace? It is a period of time as little as 15 minutes or as much as 50, wherein you explore the healing power of silence and come to know who you really are. Julian explained. Sort of a rest break for that overheated engine of mine, I suggested with a slight smile. That's a pretty accurate way of looking at it. Have you ever been on a long road trip with your family? Sure, every summer we drive down to the islands to spend a couple of weeks with Jenny's parents. Okay, do you ever make pit stops along the way? Yes, for food, or if I am feeling a little sleepy, I will take a quick nap after having listened to my kids fight in the back seat for 6 hours. Well, think of the ritual of solitude as a pit stop for the soul. Its purpose is self-renewal, and this is accomplished by spending time alone, immersed in the beautiful blanket of silence. What is so special about silence? Good question. Solitude and quiet connects you to your creative force and releases the limitless intelligence of the universe. You see, John, the mind is like a lake in our chaotic world. Most people's minds are not still. We are full of inner turbulence. However, by simply taking the time to be still and quiet every day, the lake of the mind becomes as smooth as a plate of glass. This inner quietness brings with it a wealth of benefits, including a deep sense of well-being, inner peace, and boundless energy. You will even sleep better and enjoy a renewed feeling of balance in your daily to day activities. Where should I go for this period of peace? Theoretically, you could do it anywhere from your bedroom to your office. The key is to find a place of true quiet and beauty. How does beauty fit into the equation? Beautiful images soothe a ruffled soul, Julian observed with a deep sigh. A bouquet of roses or a simple solitary daffodil will have a highly salutary effect on your senses and relax you no end. Ideally, you should savor such beauty in a space that will serve as a sanctuary of the self. What's that? Basically, it is a place that will become your secret forum for mental and spiritual expansion. This might be a spare room in your house or simply a peaceful corner of a small apartment. The point is to reserve a spot for your renewal activities, a place that sits there quietly awaiting your arrival. I love the sound of that. I think having a silent place to go to when I come home from work would make a world of difference. I could decompress for a while and let go of the stresses of the day. It would probably make me a much nicer person to be around. That brings up another important point. The ritual of solitude works best when you practice it at the same time every day. Why? Because then it becomes integrated into your routine as a ritual. By practicing it at the same time every day, a daily dose of silence will soon become a habit that you will never neglect, and a positive life habits inevitably guide you to your destiny. Anything else? Yes, if all possible, commune with nature daily. A quick walk through the woods or even a few minutes spent cultivating your tomato garden in the backyard will reconnect you to the wellspring of calm that may not be dormant within you. Being with nature also allows you to tune into the infinite wisdom of your highest self. This self-knowledge will move you into the uncharted dimensions of your personal power. Never forget this, advised Julian, his voice rising with passion. Has this ritual worked well for you, Julian? Absolutely. I rise with the sun and the first thing I do is head off to my secret sanctuary. There I explore the heart of the rose for as long as need be. Some days I spend hours in quiet contemplation. On other days I spend only 10 minutes. The result is more or less the same, a deep sense of inner harmony and abundance of physical energy, which brings me to second ritual. This is the ritual of physicality. Sounds interesting. What's it about? It's about the power of physical care. Oh, it's simple. The ritual of physicality is based on the principle that says as you care for the body, so you care for the mind. As you prepare your body, so you prepare your mind. As you train your body, so you train your mind. Take some time every single day to nourish the temple of your body through vigorous exercise. Get your blood circulating and your body moving. Did you know that there are 168 hours in a week? No, not really. It's true. At least 5 of those hours should be invested in summer, and says it has added 5 years to her life. There is no one strategy that will magically transform your life, John. Let me be the first to say this, lasting and profound. Change comes through the continued application of a number of the methods I have shared with you, but yoga is an extremely effective way to unlock your reserves of vitality. I do my yoga every morning and it is one of the best things that I do for myself.